Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Untangle Tech Talk series. Today we'll be demonstrating one of our newer apps, Tunnel VPN, that was released with one of our couple versions ago, 13.1. My name is Shannon Bonfiglio. I'm part of the marketing team here at Untangle. I'll be your host today. John Coffin is here with us. He's our director of QA, and he'll be demonstrating this app and also answering any questions that we have. Next slide, John, please. Thank you. So just a few housekeeping rules before I pass it over to John. Please be sure you're selecting the correct audio preference on the right-hand side. If you do select to use a phone, you will need to dial in and use the access code provided. Just a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, so you'll have the option to rewatch or share this webinar with whoever you wish at your own convenience. And as always, we'll be answering questions throughout the presentation, so please just be sure to submit those questions through the Q&A box on the right-hand side. We have a couple team members on hand that can help answer those questions. And as always, if you have a very specific question or if we don't get to your question in this webinar, please send us an email at sales@untangle.com or support@untangle.com, and we'll be happy to answer that for you. Now, before I move on, I just want to reiterate that this is a very highly technical webinar. So if you're not familiar with Untangle solutions or networking concepts, then this is probably not the best webinar for you. We do have another webinar series called our 101s that cover more higher level topics. So I would suggest taking a look at those on our website. And with that, I'll pass it over to John.
Thanks, Shannon. And thanks everyone for joining us. This is kind of one of the more interesting apps. It's a free app that we added recently. It allows you to basically configure any kind of connection to an outside source. If you're looking to maybe consolidate different offices, if you just want to keep your data private from your ISP, or if you have certain areas that you want to keep safe and you're able to VPN out. So with Tunnel VPN, it's really kind of a derivative of OpenVPN. But in this case, it just allows a connection out, and you can configure that traffic to various ways of, like, you can have various tunnels and segregate your traffic across many tunnels and so forth. You can also prioritize the traffic on certain tunnels, and of course, as any kind of encryption, it allows safe passage of your data through an encrypted tunnel. Some of the benefits of Tunnel VPN. It's a great way if you have, let's say, multiple satellite offices and you don't want to manage the Untangle web filter, domain, so forth on multiple boxes. You can actually create one master Untangle and have all your satellite offices use the Tunnel VPN to tunnel to the main box, and it will actually use all the rules on the main Untangle at your headquarters. Another way you can use it, and the way we use it actually in our office, is we have an AWS Untangle instance that all our satellite offices connect to, and that's how we communicate to each other. Talked about main office routing. Also, you know, if you want to avoid, some ISPs have been doing some funny things with DNS and lookups and maybe redirecting traffic to advertisers that they're working with. You can use Tunnel VPN to VPN to a service provider that you prefer and be able to have your traffic go out that way. And of course, all this is, your traffic is encrypted, so you're not able to see that. Let's really get down to it and show you the different ways to use it. We'll have a little demonstration here. So I'll go ahead, and don't take note of the icons. These are new upcoming icons that you'll get soon. So your icons might be a little different color. But you take a look at your Tunnel VPN app. It's just installed on a rack. For those who don't know how to install, you just simply go to your install apps, and you'll see it listed here, and you just click install, and it will become part of your policy. And it's a service, so it works with all the traffic that you're going through there. So you'll go in here, and probably the first thing you're going to do is add a tunnel. And as you click add, you'll see that as you expect, you can connect to another Untangle as an encrypted tunnel. But we also have put some pre-configurations for those who are looking for private VPN services, Nord VPN, Express VPN, and then private internet access are just a few we chose. It definitely works with other private VPN providers. That's why we added some custom rules. For example, if they provide a zip file, there's zip files that have username and password. There's other providers who are just VPN file, which is a different form of OpenVPN. And again, with user password and so forth. So you just select which one you want. In this case, I'm going to use another Untangle to create a tunnel between them. I'm going to select my file, and we'll just go here, and then we'll just select which one I'm using, and we'll go ahead and add that and click Done. In this case, I've already have them set up. So as you can see, I have 3 tunnels. I'm going to go ahead and enable 2 of those. So now if I look at my status, we'll see that I have all these 3 tunnels and just the 2 are connected, and those are connected to that. Now I need to make my rules, like what traffic am I going to send that? You could always make a rule, say I want all traffic to go out that way, and we actually have it right here. This is one of the default rules, and as you can see, all traffic will go through whatever tunnel. You can select any tunnel and it'll just take the first one that's available, or you can actually select which tunnel you want that traffic to go through. In this case, I'm going to have my destination address, its specific IPs that I'm going to connect to through this specific tunnel. And this is the case where maybe you have resources at a certain satellite office and you want to be able to connect to those resources. This is a way of using Tunnel VPN to connect to those resources. Again, it's just, if you're familiar with Untangle, it uses the basic way of adding conditions. If the conditions match, it will send it down this tunnel. A more common way of doing it is you'll have specific machines on your network, and you want those to go through a specific tunnel. In this case, I say, oh, this particular box is going to go through this tunnel, and that it's only that box. And for some reason, we want to have that specific box going out there. Real simple rule. I'll go ahead and enable that. And if I look at this box, for example, if I look at my regular box, I have this IP address. But if I go to this other box that I put the special rule, and I've enabled the thing, when I refresh my IP address, and let me see, the traffic does not seem to be going out that tunnel. I probably didn't enable something. Let me refresh that. It's probably going through the other VPN tunnel. So if I check my IP address, it's not going through there. Let me check this. Probably my IP address is wrong. Anyways, I set up my rules for that. And I probably have. So I'm just going to change this and make. Oh, I didn't enable the rule. That's why it was happening. So you got to check to see if the rule is enabled. So I'll click Save. Now, if I go back to my device here and check my, you'll notice my IP address has changed. That's because I'm going out through a different tunnel than my regular box. So if I go look at my regular box here, my other box is still going through the same normal WAN. And that's the way you can direct your traffic going through different ways of going that. And again, you could always have it just select all traffic and say, I want all my network traffic to go out through my special Tunnel VPN. The other ways you can prioritize this, and then you can go ahead and let's see. Let's make a change here. So the other way I can prioritize traffic is I'll go ahead and use my bandwidth manager, and then I can set rules to direct that traffic and have a higher priority. Let's say I want most of my bandwidth to be used through the PVM tunnel. So I'll go ahead and use my bandwidth manager and just say, I want a particular destination interface, and see I have my interfaces right here. So I'll say that interface, and I want to set the priority to high or very high and so forth. And that way my tunnel traffic gets priority over everything else. It's just a way to increase the bandwidth going through there. Let's go back to OpenVPN. So anyways, I can go ahead and make changes to those tunnels. I can add tunnels. It doesn't take those tunnels down. Again, if you have any kind of password login that you need to do, you're enabled to set that in different ways. So if you have a provider that's using passwords, you can do that. If you can take a look at the log to see which particular traffic is going through there, and if you've made a connection successfully. I can go to my reports and see where most of the traffic is going through. So it looks like this traffic is the most used, with some of the traffic going through that. I can take a look at see how much hourly traffic. Of course, we just connected it, so obviously most of the traffic is pretty recently. And you can get those updates, and then you can see also the amount of bytes that are going through a particular tunnel at any one time, and so forth on there. Some of the other ways you can use that, if you have multiple offices, you can actually interconnect them through the Tunnel VPN and have specific traffic. Like maybe there's a particular database that needs to be used at, and that way not all your traffic is going through the Tunnel VPN. Only the traffic maybe to your database is going through that, and you can get those traffics on that. Some of the other ways you can do that, of course, these rules, you can another useful way of doing it is if you tag your devices, you're using tags on them at all, you can go ahead and make rules to tag a particular set of machines or traffic through that. It's another way of doing that. So you can go to create a tagged rule. So if you have a tag rule that says, database, you can make sure that gets tagged through a specific tunnel on that, so forth. You can also route traffic depending on whether you can actually, another way people use this a lot of times is they'll go ahead and add tags and say, oh, I want this particular item to be going through the tunnel. So I'll label it with a tunnel tag. And then when you go to your Tunnel VPN, you can say, I want any client tagged with tunnel, or like this one right here. I wanted to go through any available tunnel. So it's saying these particular hosts always go through the tunnel. And if you look at your sessions, let's take a one here, right here. So you notice the exterior interface is the tunnel. So you can see the tunnel in the interface and see which one is going through. It's just a good way of double checking to see if the tunnel is actually working and the traffic's going through the correct tunnel. Do we have any questions, Shannon?
Not too many. Just some questions about using, custom VPN services. How that would work.
Sure. So we can go over that a little bit. So as you can see, the tunnels that I have are using Untangle, but you could go to any kind of VPN service, and you would sign up with them, and they would give you a particular type of file. And the files are usually a zip file, and that zip file will have the configuration and the certificates for that. Some of them, besides providing a file, will also provide you a username and password, and that's when you use these particular options. And then it just depends on the provider, what type of files. We've kind of grouped together. We looked at all the private VPN providers, and we've kind of set up all the options that you need. These are just ones we've tested with. They aren't anything specific. There's no particular recommendations. We just happened to pick a few of the biggest ones out there and just test with them. But they definitely will work, even if you have other kind of systems, like if you're using pfSense and you want to use that as a destination for your Untangle. There's ways of exporting the OpenVPN configuration file. I believe it exports it as a OVPN file, and you can import that in and use that for that. So it works pretty well on those. And again, you don't have to have one tunnel, and you don't have to have all your traffic going through that one tunnel. You can use multiple tunnels, and then you can direct your traffic out those as you decide necessary. One of the more classic examples of that is what I mentioned before, was you have a headquarters, you have an Untangle installed there, use the Tunnel VPN in the satellite offices to connect to the main office. That will give you access to all the machines on there, but it also provides a way of filtering all the satellite traffic out to the internet. So you don't have to go to each machine and duplicate your policies on that. You can set all your policies on the headquarters Untangle, for OpenVPN policies, changes, mail filtering, and so forth. You can have all your mail filtering in one area, and then people access it through the Tunnel VPN to those. So they'll actually get a block page for that particular site that's at the headquarters. So it makes it really easy, because once you have the Tunnel VPN connected, and it's easier to manage your licenses too, because you just need to have your licenses in one area, and it works far better to just manage everything in one area. A quick way of doing that. Any other questions?
Oh yeah, now they're coming in. So just people want to just make sure they're understanding correctly that Tunnel VPN is primarily for routing outbound traffic, and so if you want bidirectional communication, that would be OpenVPN.
Right. So if you're really looking for a bidirectional traffic, let's say you have services in, you have two offices and you want services being accessed at both ends, you're going to want to go ahead and use OpenVPN, because that's going to allow the bidirectional connection.
Okay, and then I think you already mentioned this. So Tunnel VPN helps connecting all the hosts behind Untangle with a paid VPN service, so that all hosts don't need to install the paid service individually.
Right. Excuse me. What you have to do is it makes it a lot easier. Plus, most VPN services are a one connection limitation. So when you connect with a particular account, all other connections are disconnected. So it allows you to buy one connection where you can have multiple machines behind it using that connection.
Okay, this might be a little specific question. Someone has 2 Untangle servers and wants to create a tunnel for VoIP phones to access phone switch from a remote location. Is there a way to set this up?
Sure. So, if the the VoIP is actually, the VoIP server is at one of your locations, you could use the Tunnel VPN to just transfer traffic that's on, the 560 port or the 7060 port. Usually one of those are the VPN ports, and you can just create a rule here and direct that traffic. Or what a lot of people do is they'll set up their phones on a separate network, and you could actually forward that whole network through the Tunnel VPN to your VoIP connection. So it's a really good way to direct specific traffic to a specific location, and it makes it pretty useful. And again, this is more for outgoing traffic. You're looking to filter it at a certain point or have it go out into the internet at a certain endpoint.
Okay, that seems to be all the questions we have right now. I'm sure some more will come in. Is that
Again,
unless there's anything else you want to show, John?
Yeah, one of the status page is pretty helpful on that. I did want to mention that this does work with if you're using IPsec or if you open VPN. These are all separate and they can redirect your traffic however you need to. So you don't have to worry about any kind of conflicts. Of course, you don't want to have any kind of network overlaps between these, because that will cause you issues on that. One of the biggest uses of VPN again is whether you're going with a central office or you're using AWS at your central connection point, or if you just want your outbound traffic to exit at a different point than your ISP is looking to do. Common use for this too is if you're working with certain resources, and let's say your satellite office is in another country and you want to have all your outgoing traffic exit at wherever your main headquarters is, you can have that traffic exit. So you don't have to change IP addresses for restrictions on services. Let's say you have some kind of database that you whitelist the IPs, and you don't want to keep track of all the IPs at your different offices. You can have all your traffic exit through the one point, so you only have to whitelist one particular IP address for your database. Makes it a lot easier when you just manage all your traffic through one external IP. That's about all I had to show on this.
Yeah, one other question is asking, is there full IPv6 support?
Currently, no. It's just IP4. We're waiting for some bug fixes in OpenVPN before we get full IPv6 support.
Okay, great. I think that's all the questions we have for now if we want to head back to the slides. If you guys have any more questions, please submit them in the Q&A box and we'll try and get those in. If this is completely, I guess, John, this is your slide.
Oh, sorry. Definitely, if you have some questions, I know while there isn't that much to show on it, it is a complicated feature. If you have specific questions on how to implement this in your particular organization, please post to the forum. Myself, the founder, Dirk, and a lot of our other staff are pretty active on the forum, so we can definitely help you set up any kind of connections and show how that works on the forums.
Great, thanks. So if this was completely confusing to you, or you want some assistance other than what support can do, we do have professional services. So they're there to help with whatever you need, installation configuration, specific configuration settings, anything like that. So please reach out to us if you need any assistance. There was one question that came in, John. Will VPN add any delay to the connection?
Yeah, the delays you see with any kind of encryption, there's an overhead involved. but the delay is, you can't even tell. I mean, if you do a test on it, you will see a slight latency change, but we're talking microseconds change on that. So again, it's important to have a good CPU on your router, just because encryption is just amount of number crunching. So, but you won't see that delay at all.
Okay, great. Let's see. Someone's wanting to see if there's, can you just briefly go over the difference between Tunnel VPN and OpenVPN?
Sure. So OpenVPN, it has a lot of things that that Tunnel VPN doesn't have. One of them is you cannot have like laptops connect to Tunnel VPN. There is no external thing. The differences for like site-to-site VPN, on OpenVPN, site-to-site is a two-way communication between the two. And also anything outside that particular network that's on the remote side goes through their normal WAN. So the normal traffic, web browsing, for example, will go out through a normal VPN. On Tunnel VPN, it will go out through the tunnel, no matter what you do. So whether you're browsing the network, the web networks, or if you're browsing local networks on these on the headquarters side, all traffic goes through your main WAN that you're directed all the traffic to go. And also, it doesn't work in reverse. So anyone on your headquarters cannot access machines that are on your remote site. So there are some complications on that depending on what you want to do. So there's really almost no overlap between the two. Even though they use the same kind of constructs and methods, it's really for two different applications. More like, I want all my traffic to go out through this other endpoint, while OpenVPN is more of a split network where you have some network traffic going out through a tunnel only if it's in this network, while the rest of the traffic goes out through their normal WAN.
Okay, thanks, John. I think that's about it. I just want to mention some promotions we have going on. If you're not aware, we have our security upgrade program. It's a trade-in, trade-up kind of program where we offer some special discounted pricing on if you're looking to upgrade your existing Untangle subscription, or if you have a competitor's product and are interested in getting an Untangle product, we have some special promotions for that. And as always, we know that you love using us at home, and we appreciate that. But if you ever were to bring us to your business, you will get special pricing if you bring that to your business. So please contact your sales rep or our sales team today so you can figure out what those special pricing is. Let's see if there's any questions that came in, John, in the last couple of seconds.
I'm just looking over the prevent rogue hackers rerouting your traffic. The traffic is a communication agreement between the endpoints. Those have certificates on both ends. If the certificates don't match, your traffic will not connect. So that will prevent the traffic from going out that network. If someone tries to reroute an IP address, because the other endpoint will not have the certificate that you have on your particular endpoint, whether you're using a VPN service provider or another Untangle on the other end.
Great, thanks, John. I think that's about it. So I know this was a little short for everyone, but I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, we didn't get to your questions, please email us at sales@untangle.com or support@untangle.com, or as John mentioned, hit us up on the forums. We have a couple webinars coming up next month, so check out our website and see if any of those are interesting for you. Thank you, John, for the great presentation, and we'll see you next time.